All right, so over the last decade, there's been an increase of applications for firearm ID cards and permits to purchase in the state of New Jersey. So in this presentation, we're going to talk about laws on what's legal to own in the state of New Jersey, as well as some safe storage requirements. These are two websites that are very useful. There's a lot of information on there. You can actually apply if you live in the township of Plainsboro. There's a link to download all the paperwork and do everything you need on the Plainsboro Police website. In the state of New Jersey, you must apply with your local police department. If you don't have a local police department, your application is done with the New Jersey State Police. Currently, everything is now a paperless system in the state of New Jersey. If you haven't applied in a while and you've had a card, everything is done online. You no longer receive a physical copy. Everything is done via email, and you can download and print out the old physical copies if you would wish to do so. The bottom message there has the state police's portal, so you can apply for firearms online. In order to do that, you need the ORI code, which tells the state police what jurisdiction you live in every time you fill out an application. Many people ask, when will I need to be fingerprinted? Your initial firearms ID card, when applying for any permit to purchase a handgun for the first time, and if you're changing the gender that was previously listed on your firearms ID card. How am I allowed to transport a firearm in the state of New Jersey? You must transport all of your firearms unloaded, contained in an enclosed or fastened case, gun box, secure tied package, or locked in the trunk of the automobile in which is being transported. It has to be unloaded, but magazines can be loaded, as is listed later on in this slide. The vehicle does not have a separate compartment. You get a lot of questions about something like an SUV where there isn't a separate trunk. You need to place them in the locked container in the farthest space from the driver or occupants of the vehicle, typically under the rear hatch, as far as possible. As it says there, ammunition can be in magazines. Can you transport on a motorcycle comes up as well. Yes, you can. They prefer locked saddlebags on the side of your motorcycle, but if you do not have those, you can use a backpack, but you have to have the firearm in a locked case. If you inherit firearms, is a question that commonly comes up. What do you have to do? You don't have to get a firearms identification card or a permit to purchase if you inherit them legally, and the firearms are legal to possess in the state of New Jersey. You must not be a person who's prohibited from possessing firearms in order to inherit them legally. Similar, if you move from out of state, we have many people who come to the Garden State and want to bring their legally acquired firearms from another state and they have questions. You do not have to register your firearms in the state of New Jersey, but you do have to have firearms that are legal to own in the state of New Jersey since you purchased them or inherited them elsewhere. Hollow point bullets comes up often, and people wonder if they are allowed to have them. Yes, you are allowed to possess them in the state of New Jersey. You'll go to many firearm shops and find them there for sale. You need to have them in your home or land you own. You can purchase them there, transport them to your home, transport them to land or range where you're going to test them in your firearm, and then take them back home as well. Outside of that, you can't travel around with them freely. There is ammunition that has polymer tips inserted into the hollow cavity. There is a list on the New Jersey State Police website of those ammos that are not considered hollow point bullets and are also legal to own. Large capacity ammunition magazines. 10 rounds is the legal limit for a box style or detachable style magazine in the state of New Jersey. There are some exceptions for 22 rimfires that have a built-in tubular magazine on the bottom of the firearm. There is also exceptions for retired, active duty, and out-of-state law enforcement officers. Assault weapons. What type of weapons are considered assault weapons in the state of New Jersey? It's a very long list and would take too long to cover here. If you log on to the internet and look up NJSC 2C39-1, you will find a specific list of all of the firearms that are banned in the state of New Jersey. Also, through the Attorney General's office, there's a list of features that will make them considered substantially identical to the above listed firearms. If you have any further questions, reach out to your local firearms retailer and they can assist you. What if I have an old gun that I want to get rid of or that belong to a family member that passed away. What can I do? You can contact your local police department. You can turn it over to them with some minor paperwork for destruction. You also have the option of contacting a local gun shop. They may purchase it from you outright and give you a receipt for the same, and some stores will sell them on consignment where they sell it for you and do the paperwork and give you a portion of the proceeds. Since they've been invented, airsoft guns commonly comes up if they are considered firearms. This is because BB guns or pellet guns are considered firearms in the state of New Jersey, and you do need a firearms ID card or a pistol permit to purchase them. Airsoft guns, however, are considered toys in the state of New Jersey due to the fact that they fire plastic pellets. Tasers. Are they legal? Can I carry one? And the answer is yes. As of 2017 in the state of New Jersey, the only requirements are that you're 18 years of age, you must not be a prohibited person to possess one. Storage requirements. Everything can be found detailed in NJSA 2C 5815. But a person that knows or reasonably should know that a minor is likely to gain access to a loaded firearm must store the firearm in a secure lockbox or container, or store the firearm in a location which a reasonable person would believe to be secure, or secures the firearm with a trigger lock to not give the minor access to said firearm. That's all we have for right now. There's the contact information for myself and Sergeant Eamon Blanchard, who runs this unit, and we're here to answer any questions you have.
Can you just stop the screen share on that? Yep, so appreciate it. We did have a couple questions that came in while you were giving your presentation. Well, we know this is a topic that has a ton of information attached to it. I think you gave a lot of really good resources as far as the state police websites to go there. Everybody, honestly, if you think of something later on, you guys know how to get in touch with us through the Plainsboro VIP Facebook group. You can always contact us there. If you have any questions that come up afterward, we'll get them answered by the officers as well. For the time being, we did have two that came in. One asked, can I carry my firearm with me in a holster?
Corporal McMahon, let's take that one.
Sure. The short answer is no. In the state of New Jersey, you cannot carry a firearm unless you have a permit to do so. You can make application through the state of New Jersey for a permit to carry a firearm, but outside of law enforcement and retired law enforcement, the answer is no.
And then the second question that came in is a parent has a kid going away to college soon.
They're looking for information as far as can their college student now carry some form of weapon with them
for protection on campus.
That's a very detailed answer. Several of the things we covered, tasers, which are a non-lethal and not considered a firearm. So firearms are typically prohibited by state laws, and that's what you have to check is we don't know whether this child is going to school in or out of state. So you have to check with your local and state laws for where they would be attending school. In the state of New Jersey, firearms are not allowed on public school campuses at any level. That being said, things like I know pepper ball guns are becoming very popular and not considered a firearm, and as we touched on, the tasers. That being said, besides checking with your local and state laws, typically most universities ban weapons of any type from being on their campus. So you would need to contact the school and find out what their rules are.
Okay, so it's almost like you have two sets of rules to look at now as far as the state law of New Jersey, but college campus, if I'm getting this right, could be more restrictive than our law.
Correct, and if you violate theirs, it's not a criminal offense to violate their personal policies at the university level, but it could run into issues for your student going forward and being a member of that campus.
Very well. We have one more question that just came in, and it said, legal, and what restrictions are they subject to?
Aerosol mace is legal. I would not purchase it online. Many of the local firearm retailers you have will have some in stock because there's a limit to the amount of spray that can be in the container, and they already have that pre-measured out so that you're not in violation of having too much of the chemical spray inside of the canister.
Very well.
While we do our outro here,
Mr. Logan, if you could just let us know if that answered your question. with no more
questions being in here, we are going to be on our way. There's
one more. Okay. I think we
have one more coming in. We'll
just give it a second to get here.
As far as VIP is concerned, I just want to let everybody know that we will be continuing with our monthly shows. I know we missed a couple shows here and there. However, now everything seems to have settled back down with the coronavirus, so I think we can get back on track. I do have one last question that was just sent to me, and it is, what does it take to become a firearm instructor?
Well, McMahon, why don't you talk about what you went through, and then I'll talk about what I went through.
Sure, absolutely. So us as law enforcement officers, we have to go through a firearms instructor course. It's a week-long course, and it requires us to not only qualify, but qualify at a higher level than usual. The percentage of passing scores up, it's raised for a firearms instructor. We have to go through the course and not only show that we're proficient in using the firearm, but also learn how to instruct others on doing that. This includes basic shooting in addition to tactics as well. In addition to just firearms instructor school, Tom and I have both been to rifle instructor, and now we actually instruct not only members of our department on the use on handling of the AR-15s that we use here in Plainsboro, but we also assist the Department of Criminal Justice at Fort Dix, teaching law enforcement members from the state how to become firearms rifle instructors themselves.
I also was certified by the Department of Criminal Justice many years ago to be a handgun and shotgun instructor, and then you went to the separate school, as Corporal McMahon said, to be an assault rifle instructor for the members of the department. I do know other officers who have been certified, and if a department so chooses, the NRA does open to civilians, because the classes we went to were closed to law enforcement instructor courses to become a range safety officer. And I know that if you go to those, your department can accept that, and you can instruct at your local department. The certifications that myself and Corporal McMahon had are held to a higher standard and by the state that would allow us to return to police academies or other PDs and be able to instruct anyone throughout the state.
We just have one thing come in, and
it's regarding your weapon on your own private property. What laws would govern you from being on your property?
So on your own private property, you are allowed to carry a firearm because it is your property. But you have to understand, and I would consult an attorney before you try to do much of anything, there are different rules with brandishing a firearm. The state of New Jersey, pointing a loaded firearm at someone is a criminal offense. So that being said, could you wear a firearm on your private property? Yes. Discharge of firearms on your own private property is going to be governed by your local township. Some township have ordinances about it. And then also there are rules about how far away you are from dwellings and safety in that manner if you have that much property. But that being said, I would consult with an attorney ahead of time so that you are quite aware and clear on what you can and cannot do, for the simple fact that, as I said, you decide it's okay for you to wear a firearm while you're in your house and someone comes to your front door. If they call us, then it's an issue that you want to make sure you have everything that you need.
All right, very well. Well, I'm not getting any more questions in the chat right now. This is going to be everybody's last chance to get them while we are live right now. We have the officers with us. Like I said before,
we are going to be starting up once again a month with different
presentations. So if anybody has any recommendations on topics for us or something that they think could be
talk to the public,
please let us know through the Plainsboro VIP Facebook group. Like I said earlier,
if you guys have any more
questions that you think of after this presentation is over,
also contact us through that Facebook group, and we will get those questions
answered as well.
That being said, this is going to be the end of our program today. I would
just give a special thanks to
Patrol Newbon and Corporal McMahon
for being with us here tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Everybody, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for coming.